all for being flexible today. And also very grateful for Reverend Debbie to have a beautiful, healing, restful weekend and come back replenished and refreshed and ready for action. So I know as a community, we all really appreciate all that Reverend Debbie does around here. So thank you, Reverend Debbie. All right.
She's probably not watching, is what I'm guessing.
I hope not. Go
She's
back
probably
to bed.
sleeping in. That alarm did not go off this morning.
But when you watch it later, know that we love you. Okay. So for our reading today, I know a lot of you are a daily word kind of person, which is really beautiful. I grew up with that, even though I was Catholic. My mom really loved that. And then I also, of course, get the Science of Mind magazine. And I was just thinking last night, I need a different reading. It's not quite right. You know how you have that feeling? And then this morning I open up and I see the reading for today and went, oh, that's what my talk is about. So this is from Reverend Christine Green. And the inspiration from today, maybe you read it, maybe you didn't, but here it is for a little inspiration. It says, when we find ourselves filled with anxiety that manifests as clenched jaws or fists or rigid neck or scrunched shoulders, oh, the whole room just went, good job. Okay, these are all indications that we have an attachment to a condition or a person in our lives. Once we observe our reactive behavior, we can take a deep breath and begin the process of letting go. We don't have to give up the intention for what we want, but we do have to be willing to give up how we go about getting it. In surrendering attachment, there is an extraordinary sense of freedom. In that freedom is an abundance of possibilities. Some would call it living into grace. How do we surrender? The practice is to take attention off trying to possess someone or something, and instead we identify those ideas we want to experience in life. In surrendering, we free ourselves from the constant chatter about what isn't working, and then we are open to discover the other possibilities in store for us. We become aware of our divine self when we let go of the suffering from the past and the neediness of the future. Learning to live in the moment helps us to stay centered in love. When I live in the moment, I allow God's healing power to take charge. If I can take time in the silence, I return to the extraordinary place of peace and harmony. Instead of planning, changing, fixing, I allow myself to just be. In those still, small, quiet moments, inspiration sneaks in and whispers its plan for us. There are amazing experiences waiting for us if we can let go enough to experience them. Let go and let God guide you to your greater good. Let's open our heart.
much love, so much beauty. There's so much love and joy, and I open my heart. I open my heart. I open my
And staying in that open heart space, let's take some nice deep breaths in to begin our meditation, and out. And continuing with that mindful slowing down as we breathe in and out. Let's breathe into the spaciousness that is our body. With each breath in, we expand, and each breath out, we contract. And let's focus on breathing into the spaciousness of our feet on the ground. And we expand that internal spaciousness so we walk with solid feet on a smooth and clear path. We consciously expand our path. And we breathe into the expansion, the expansiveness of our knees as we are flexible and make forward progress on our path, and breathe into that feeling space of our knees. And we feel that stability rising up from the path to our legs, to our knees, and we breathe into the expansive strength of our hips. Square them off if we're a little bit off center. Square it off. And allow that divine light to fill the beautiful spaciousness where we store our emotions and we create from our womb space. And breathe that golden light of the divine opening up. And we expand into our stomach and into our lungs, where we are nourished and replenished as we go forth to do the work of the divine. And we expand into that heart space, our home base of love. When all else fails, go home to love and more love. And feeling that expansion of the heart, I know it also breathes forth into squaring off my shoulders. And I feel my arms that are here to be the arms of love and the hands of the divine. To be the place where love shows up. And I breathe into the space that is my throat. It opens and clears, and I know that I am the voice of the divine, and I speak with grace, guided by the infinite wisdom and gentleness of spirit. And I breathe into the spaciousness of my ears and I listen for that divine guidance. That may be a whisper, that may be a song, that may be a message, whatever it is. And I breathe into the spaciousness of my third eye and my crown, my connection to the infinite. So I see as the divine sees, and I know what the infinite knows. I have access to the infinite warehouse of possibilities that is expressing as me, as you, as we, as this sacred journey that we are sharing in this moment, in this body, in this experience. And so surrounding my entire being with this golden cyclone of love and light, I know that I am an expression of the one loving source. I am fully aligned with the divine that is the presence and power within. And we breathe into that just for another moment here. And hold on to that feeling of perfect alignment and perfect harmony, and recognizing the presence of the divine. And gently holding on to the feeling, but coming on forth back to the room, we recognize all that is surely the presence. So that all goes with our talk. That song was the perfect lead in here. So I just want to say, long time no see. I feel like it's been forever, like maybe I haven't seen you since last year. That was a joke. I actually literally haven't seen you since last year. So Happy New Year! Yay, yeah, it falls flat the 5th week of the year, doesn't it? Mwah, 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 mwah. Yeah, the honeymoon is pretty much over, isn't it? Oh, ow. And I think, and I know during my day job when I'm teaching about relationships, we talk about the relationship cycle, that there's the honeymoon, and then things get a little gnarly, and we get into disillusionment. And if we can stick to it and work through it, we can get to some kind of insight, right? And then we get into our working mojo where the magic happens. That's great. And then we get another honeymoon. So honeymoon, disillusionment, insight, working, just kidding, I'll stop. So we're cycling right now, and that's okay. So what I really want to figure out today, because the honeymoon, I don't know about you, but boy, mine is over with 2022. So how can I shift from disillusionment to insight? Because I know it could be there. I'm ready, but this feeling that I have, this really yucky disillusionment that happens in January, I call it the New Year's syndrome. It's almost like Charlie Brown trying to kick that gosh darn football, and I fall for it every year. Oh, Lucy, gosh darn it. So I just want to unpack a little bit about New Year's, because there are some pretty crazy mental traps that our society does right about this time of year. So first off, I do want to honor that January is a really natural time to look back at the year before and reflect, and to look forward to the year to come and make goals. Of course, absolutely, please, you go for it. That's really important. And certainly, hope springs eternal in the human breast. We get our hopes up so high. Have you ever noticed that about January? We pin a lot on January 1st. Poor January 1st. We're like, this year is going to be better. And we make our New Year's resolutions, and just about now is when they tend to fall apart. If you want a parking spot at the gym, start in February. I'm just saying. So this is really tough for me because I want to be in that honeymoon stage. I want to be really positive, and then all of a sudden a few things, really difficult experiences happen, and the honeymoon is over, and the new year has let us down again. New Year's syndrome, it has struck. So how do I shift myself from that disillusionment to insight? Well, I can get out of the way, which was the perfect song for today, and I can start asking some questions. So I might connect with some kind of insight here. And there are, hundreds of good questions we could ask, but two of my favorite come from our friends in A Course in Miracles. So one of them is, what am I making this mean? And Byron Katie does that one too pretty well, not for the faint of heart. And also, can I see this another way? Those are two really powerful questions. So, I've been seeing two little cartoons going around Facebook in the turn of the new year that have been really interesting. And you probably saw them too, because a lot of us are friends on Facebook. So, there was one little cartoon that had a door with 2020 on it, and people had this really long broom handle, and they're trying to open the door, and they look absolutely terrified. And somewhat warranted, I understand. I've been joking around that 2020 has been the longest 2 years of my life. So I get it. Caution is warranted. But is that the posture, is that the position that I want to be in all year? A different cartoon I saw going around was two little characters talking. And the one little character says to the other little guy, I think 2020 will be filled with flowers. And the other little guy says, well, why do you think that? And the first one says, because I'm planting flower seeds. Yeah, totally different postures, right? Totally different perspectives, different ways of seeing what's happening here. Would you like fear or flowers? Right. What are we projecting forward? What am I making it mean? And I just want to unpack a little bit of logic here. Why is it that January, especially January 1st, is supposed to be this magical turning point, this hard line in the sand, a marker to the universe to somehow get cracking now, as opposed to some other date? May I just humbly remind us that January 1st is no more or less special than any other date on the calendar. Is it more or less special than February 1st? March 21st, your birthday? It's almost like, when you're filling up your gas tank and you got it on auto fill and it clicks off at a round number and you're like, ooh, it's $28 on the nose. That's so cool. How possible is that? Well,
That's a little car.
it's actually, that's my little car. And I am a thrifty mom. But still, when it clicks off on that round number, we're all excited. We're like, wow, what are the chances of that? Actually, statistically speaking, that number is as equally possible as any other number that makes sense to show up. We just like it more. And that's what January is. We just like it more. We pin more on it than almost any other month. Do you ever wake up on a birthday and you think, oh, today is going to be magical, I'm 16, or I'm turning 21, or I'm 50, and there's you just think something magical is going to happen, the day comes and goes, and you just kind of go, meh, oh, it's just another day. Well, because honestly, each day is just another day. But here's the trick, I'm not being dismissive or nihilistic, or if you want to pull out the Winnie the Pooh cast of characters, I am not being Eeyore. I want to be Tigger about it, because let's say that another way. Each day is another day. Any day is equally statistically possible to be awesome, to be a day of potential, to be a day of hope, for great things to happen, to turn a corner, to start something new, to do what makes your heart sing. Any day. Since we're talking about now, we definitely have to have a quote from The Power of Now from our friend Eckhart Tolle. He's not actually my friend, I just feel like I know him. All right. It says there is nothing that you can ever do to attain, there's nothing you can ever do or attain that will get you closer to salvation or your freedom than it is at this moment. This may be hard to grasp for a mind accustomed to thinking that everything worthwhile is in the future. Nor can anything that you ever did or that was ever done to you in the past prevent you from saying yes to what is and take your attention deeply into the now. You cannot do this in the future. You do it now or not at all. So what am I making this time frame mean? Some people would say that time doesn't exist. One of my favorite authors, Douglas Adams, says time is an illusion, lunchtime doubly so. I like that one. All right, and to the infinite, of course. Time doesn't, how would that compute? In the infinite, there's no big or small, there's no time frames or size, sure. But to us human beings, living in our finite bodies inside the time-space continuum, time can be very helpful. We all showed up here on time, and we're sharing this sacred experience together because we've got this awesome little marker called time, so it can be helpful. And sometimes associating something I want to do with time is helpful. It motivates me. I love me my SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. That could light a fire, and I might get it done. But sometimes time is a trap. So we need to do a check when we're feeling that way. Are these dates, these deadlines, these cutoffs, are they a limitation? Is it a false belief? Is the time frame doing more harm than good? Does it have to be that time? So is it cutting me off from the infinite? Is it stressing me out? Does it make me want to give up? Or lock down instead of opening up to divine right order? Or to allowing spirit to unfold in ways far greater than anything I could have engineered? I'm sure we've all had some of those experiences. We just have to remember. Oh yeah. Let's get out of the way for that one. So what does a new year really mean? It literally means 365 days. And whatever I'm experiencing right now is precisely because of what happened before. Of whatever I was thinking, believing, doing, other people, things that, came together, intersectionality, don't get me started. This doesn't happen out of context, like in a void. So I really do have to question, is this perspective empowering me or limiting me? Because no matter what the answer is, then I know what to do next. I win either way. If it's empowering me, then I relish that time frame and I get her done. If it's not working for me, okay, then I need to let it go and open up to the possibilities, take another view. So that's the second question. How can I see this in another way? And that answer came to me I was so surprised and filled with joy. I've connected with Brene Brown's new book. I don't know if any of you have seen this yet. It is amazing. And if you don't know who Brene Brown is, she is a social scientist and researcher and professor at the University of Houston. And she does research around courage, vulnerability, emotions, the human experience, and her work is incredibly empowering. So listening to her podcasts are super insightful. This latest book is called Atlas of the Heart. And it says, mapping meaningful connection in the language of human experience. That's all. And what's really neat to me about this book is she has 2 decades of emotions research that she has done. She has a lot of insight. She knows a lot of the language that can help us to flesh out what we're experiencing. Okay, and she cataloged it. Instead of making it a glossary, like let's put it in alphabetical order. Okay, I'm experiencing fear, let's flip to the F's. No. She made it an atlas. It's a map. And each chapter is called Places We Go When, and then there's an experience. And then here's the suite of emotions you might experience in this place. Oh my gosh, it's brilliant. And there were 2 chapters that just leapt at me like, oh, sister, this is what you need right now. So the first one is places we go when things are uncertain or too much. Wow, did that just summarize my January? Ole! So, things that you might experience when, what you might experience when things are uncertain or too much includes such fun things as stress, overwhelm, anxiety, worry, avoidance, excitement, dread, fear, and vulnerability. Okay, the other chapter that was like a call and response that just lifted me up out of the valley of the shadow of death is one that was called Places We Go When It's Beyond Us. Awe, wonder, confusion, curiosity, interest, and surprise. Well, I know which one I would like to be experiencing. So again, how do I shift from that stress and overwhelm and avoidance and all that into the awe, the wonder, the confusion? Well, the name was in the chapter title when I realized that it's beyond me. And think about that phrase. Usually when people say it's beyond me, I tried to say it in a flat way, but usually when people say that, just hear it in your head once. Right? It's really sassy. People are usually snarky and kind of mean, and that it's something that's so dumb you can't even believe it happened. They say, why did that happen? I don't know. It's beyond me. Rawr. Okay, so let's check that. Let's disarm that phrase, and let's put on the mantle of grace and humility, realizing that we are part of the infinite. And maybe I can say that with some humility and say, yeah, it's beyond me. Ooh, that has a totally different feel, doesn't it? That just gave me little God bumps. All right. So that gives me the permission to not have all the answers, because how could I possibly? And to stay curious and open and to wonder what will happen next. Like I'm watching Netflix and there's only 3 episodes left in the whole series, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how are they going to wrap this one up? You're kidding me. But they do, and I know it's going to happen. So it's that kind of wonder and curiosity and staying open and trusting. And you know that saying that, oh, it all works out in the end. And if it hasn't worked out yet, it's not the end. Right, we know this. But I forget over and over. Charlie Brown, I'm just saying. So instead of me locking down in disillusionment, can I open up to insight? Because then I can see what I am making it mean, and I can see it another way. Then I can see beyond. I can see over the hill and around the corner into the deep and the mystical through time, and connect with the infinite warehouse of possibilities. When things are uncertain or too much, I can surrender to the fact that it is beyond me. And I think that's the cure to the New Year's syndrome, to release what I'm making it mean, those mental traps and games and limitations I make for myself as I box myself in and create my own struggle, and to open myself to ask, can I see this new year, this new month, this new experience another way? And every time I do that, I expand my spiritual intelligence. I learn to trust the process. I am moving through the cycle of the honeymoon, the disillusionment, the insight, thank you, God, and the working relationship where the magic happens. Do not be afraid. I am with you, says the beloved. You got this, and I got you. it's okay. I can know that it's beyond me and that all the answers are in the divine, should I but have the courage to open up to insight. And this practice helps me to live on the pioneering edge of myself without constraint, to break free of those false limitations and to evolve consciously. So what do I desire to experience in 2022? Fear or flowers? Where would I like to go this year? If I can stay open and ask the questions and hear the answers and be guided by Spirit, I know that wherever I do end up going this year, it'll truly be beyond me. Bon voyage.